It's Leicester City 2, Spurs 1. We'll just talk about the significance of that result in a moment. Let's talk about that penalty. Was it a penalty?
I'm the opposite. I didn't think it was a penalty because I think Danny Rose kicked the player making the tackle.
You don't think? He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gray's gone for the ball. Hold on a sec. The defender's gone for the ball and missed the ball. And as Danny Rose is having a shot, he's gone for the ball and he's got right in front of Danny Rose's his leg, and it's a penalty kick.
You're not allowed to go in front of another
If you
player?
go for the ball and you end up hitting the opposition in your own penalty box, it's a penalty kick.
All right, okay, let's say it was a penalty kick. And let's say that somehow they get a draw out of this match. It's still not a good result for Spurs. No, you got to keep up with Manchester City and Manchester United, and it's not happening for Spurs. And this life for Spurs is real. We sat here and we said, oh, this team, yeah, this is a team that's going to contend. Not this season. See you guys later.
Yeah, you take a look at it. If you do the maths quickly, 13 points now separate Spurs and City at the top of the table. Spurs with a game in hand. Of course, that could go up to 16 points come the end of tomorrow.
Well, Liverpool and Burnley can jump them. Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, they've gone. I mean, they're in the Champions League and they've been pretty good in the Champions League, but they're starting to run out of gas already. Now, we've seen Spurs in the last 2 or 3 years. I know they finished, was it second last year? But they were in pole position to finish second the year before, and they faltered at the end. They're leaking gas already, and it's not even Christmas. I mean, this love-in with Pochettino, and we talked about it yesterday.
It's Poch. Yeah.
You know, there has to be some questions. There has to be questions. And the other side of the coin is when Alderweireld shows Mahrez inside, which is a mistake in the first place on his left foot, then Davinson Sanchez has got to step out. So he's got to step out. Once he shows him inside, he's got to step out and put pressure on.
And that's where the problems are, defensively. This Spurs team, for me, since Pochettino's come, Pochettino, it was built on a defensive shape, a defensive rock that gave nothing away. And then you had your Harry Kanes and your Dele Allis that would get goals. I mean, think of all the draws they've had over the last couple of seasons. Because even though they weren't scoring, they were keeping everybody out. They can't keep a clean sheet anymore.
Let's go to Mr. Pochettino, love.
And Mr. Spurs.
I think it's a combination. It's a combination of things. I mean, there's also people like Wanyama, Dembele's been out for a bunch. In this run, they've also beaten Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund,
who aren't very good at the moment. Let's not pretend anymore that result against Borussia Dortmund means anything.
It is Peter Boss. You're right. Touche. But I think...
Oh, that was easy.
Well, there you go.
Peter Boss,
quick.
But I think there's also certain realization. Dele Alli this season, for whatever reason, is not the Dele Alli that he was last year. And he's certainly not the Dele Alli that people want him to be. I think he's going back to being... He's a young player, and he's going to have his ups and downs. Davinson Sanchez is another one. 21 years old. He looks rated Ajax. He comes in. He's got great potential in front of him. But what you said about showing Mahrez onto, in not stepping up when Mahrez, I mean, these are things that I think you pay a price for inexperience, and this is something that Pochettino needs to fix. I'm not sure that also, the back three worked for them last season. I don't know that it's something you necessarily need to continue either.
Gab obviously folded quite quickly and mentioned Dortmund. We had a big argument last month, Stevie, when I was saying that's fair that they want to focus on the Champions League and the league. Forget about the League Cup, the FA Cup, it doesn't define them.
Right.
Maybe people making that argument were wrong. Maybe we were getting a bit ahead of ourselves when it comes to Spurs, and they were thinking a little bit too big.
Well, I think because Spurs have been kind of in the wilderness pretty much until Pochettino arrived, then all of a sudden we were giving them too much kudos. Let's be honest. And the fact is, they've won nothing. They haven't looked as though they've been close to winning anything. But there's just been this love-in with Pochettino and how he sets the team up and all the rest of it. Well, they might at times play great football, but I'll tell you what, defensively, the result, the line they play is one of the big reasons, again, why they're struggling this season. They play far too high a line. You only got to look at the goal they lost today with Vardy. It's a simple ball played in behind with acres of space, and they've been doing it all season long. And when they continue to do that high line, they'll never win anything.
Oh, this is a team that we were sat here saying they were
they keep chopping and changing it as well. I mean, I can't... From one game to the next, I mean, I know there's injuries and people get tired and that, but the wing-backs change. They've had to make a change because of Alderweireld. We talk about Dembele. When he was out, Harry Winks did a great job. Harry Winks did great for him, looked really tidy in there, got himself an England call-up. Then for some reason in the North London derby, Harry Winks is on the bench and Sissoko's playing in there. I mean, some of the decisions I just think have been a little baffling for me, I have to be honest.
Can I just say that when we were all sort of riding this wave with Spurs, right? They beat Real Madrid and they beat Dortmund. You think, okay, this is a team that's going to contend. I've gone on a streak here of picking Spurs in all of these matches. Well, that streak is ending. Let me tell you, this team, bunch of pretenders. These are not real contenders.
When we sat here and we did our combined 11 between Spurs and Arsenal, I think there was one Arsenal player, 10 Spurs. Yet Arsenal now above Spurs, now have the opportunity to stretch that gap. We're all talking about Arsene Wenger. He's very much under the spotlight. When do we start focusing on Mauricio Pochettino?
I think not for a very long time. Because also,
why does he get a pass?
Well, no,
if he's got better players.
We in the media, or are you talking about the club?
I'm talking about us.
No, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to ask questions about certain decisions. I mean, you know, and this is where we in the media we should have exaggerated. The point you made about Dembele versus Winks, I think if you were to ask Pochettino that question, he would tell you that one guy's big and strong, the other guy's little, the other guy's tired. And for this game, I wanted the more physical, more experienced guy in there, and Dembele was now fully fit. But the problem is we don't ask these questions, and they don't give those answers, right? Managers go into manager speak, and they don't talk football.
I don't care about Winks and Dembele. That doesn't make a big difference in the big picture, does it? The big picture is Spurs have got a better squad, yet find themselves behind Arsenal.
Well, I think what will happen is they'll gauge where they go in the Champions League this year. They'll gauge how the rest of the season goes. They'll move into this new stadium, right? They'll go again in the summer, and then I think, a bit like Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, once next transfer window gets out of the way and they're in the stadium, or sorry, the one in the summer, they'll start gauging how that season's going. Then he is going to have to deliver.
Well, what about the big name players? Do they stick around? And that is a big question.
Wow. All right. ESPN.
So the final scores from this evening. Down at the Amex, Brighton and Crystal Palace ended goalless. Still no goals away from home for Palace, but at last a first point since April when they went to Anfield and won. Leicester have beaten Spurs by 2-1 this evening. Goals from Mahrez and Vardy. Harry Kane got one back for Spurs. Not enough though. And those two results we have just shown you. So United close to within 5 points, but Man City at home tomorrow night against Southampton. It means Watford miss out on the chance of going above Liverpool and just behind Spurs, who were beaten tonight. Spurs 13 points still behind table toppers Man City. Man City with a game in hand now. At the bottom, Palace still on the bottom, but now level on points with Swansea. West Brom 12 points above Everton now, who play tomorrow night. They are at home to West Ham tomorrow. It's 17th versus 18th tomorrow at Goodison. But our featured game will be Manchester City against Southampton from the Etihad. Richard and Andy will be back here for that one, 22:30, starting that one here on 11. Also an Arabic on 2. The other games tomorrow night: Arsenal against Huddersfield, Bournemouth against Burnley, Chelsea at home against Swansea. No Tammy Abraham for Swansea tomorrow. Everton, West Ham and Stoke City at home to Liverpool. 5 more games tomorrow, 4 this evening, which we'll round up in the company of Jan Arga Fjortoft and David Platt. He got a bit nervous in that second half.
They did, and a week ago I was in Sevilla. I saw a team there being in red, being 3-0 up, and Sevilla came back in that game. There was a glimmer of hope there. I think that Lingard goal was so vital. I mean, that is obviously, but Watford were going for it. There were 8-9 minutes to go with extra time, and they would have got something. They would have got a chance there. We all know that. But so impressive how Watford came back. But again, that is class what Lingard did.
United just switch off?
I don't think. I mean, they've switched off in defence, obviously, to concede the 2, and you know that's the risk that you take. But Mourinho won't think to himself, I'm not going to do that again. That's typical Mourinho. With 3-0 up, shut up shop, that's it, they don't score. His disappointment will be the fact that they've not been able to keep a clean sheet, but he wouldn't portion any blame to himself in saying sit back, I don't think. They haven't controlled the game. in the second half as much as they did do in the first half. And let's be honest as well, they've had 2 or 3 very good chances as well to put the game to bed well before that. But you saw it in him, I think, there at the end when Lingard scores, that that's relief. That's not celebrating a goal, that's relief, because he knows there's sufficient time left.
Exactly, and you can imagine the headlines. I mean, the minutes Lukaku's not scoring goals, they're just getting... And that's a worse position for a striker, and you can see his confidence a bit down. Big chance there before. Mourinho won't be happy, but I think he will be very proud of his not conceding so many goals this season. Conceded 2 today was not necessary at all. But Watford just show you how what a team they are. That is how they're going to play with it. And always a lot of goals involved when they are around.
They've scored 4. That's 32 for the season. Let's get some reaction from Jose himself.
Jose,
spin on it.
Well, I think that's the way that he's set about the second half. That's it. They don't concede. We'll just sit back and hit them on the counter attack. And he's right. They've had 2 or 3 good chances really to put the game to bed. And when you don't do that, you always risk it. We said that the next goal at half time. We said the next goal was important. Whether the boy scores when he's gone past Rocco or not, I don't know. But it's a stupid tackle really coming from behind, and that's what's got Watford back into the game. Really.
But Mourinho is that kind of manager. He will know.
That's your side.
They used to say that, didn't they? There was I remember in Germany there was a lot of discussion, like when Thomas Hessler or these experts scoring for like 16, 18 yards. Should there even be a wall? Because they didn't shoot that hard, but yes.
I think the problem for the goalkeeper, he can't see the ball. He wants to see the ball, so that's why he second guesses. But that's what's cost him.
Brilliant goal.